assembly station B and D are located on the open deck 3 port side.
Now on your right hand side you can see a fortress, one of the fortresses built to defend the Portuguese coast. This is from the 17th century, so it's a very nice area. And even in summertime the water is not so warm because this is the Atlantic North, the English beach. So that's the name of the region also, Douro Litoral. And this is for fishermen to keep their nets. Sometimes we can see them fixing their nets. Look, you can see the net. They are just fixing the nets and all the fishing instruments. Yeah, the ones with the backpacks. A lot of them they also use as a symbol, and just for us to identify them, the shell that is the symbol of Santiago, of the pilgrim.
You know my name already. I'm 34 years old. I'm from here, from Vigo. If you look to the left and right of the bus, you will see some squares on the ocean. You will see them better maybe on the right. These are squares made of wood. We call them bateas. They are mussel beds. It's where we raise the mussel, oysters and scallops. As I told you, we are very superstitious, and if you find a witch that is cooking, it's a good witch. If you find one that is riding a broom, it's a bad witch.
here because I want to show you another typical thing from here, from Combarro, are these crosses. We have 7. We're going to see 6 in our way to the end of the tour. These crosses, we call them cruceiro. Cruceiro is the Galician word to say cross. They carry again the coffin until the next cross, until they arrive to the cemetery. So funerals, they were very, very long because we have a lot of these crosses. Cemeteries are outside of the city and people were drunk. Okay. Yeah, it's like the Irish wake. Yeah, exactly. Because Galicia is considered a Celtic nation. Okay, I told you about the bagpipe before. We share also our funerals, and also we share our DNA. These houses, they are houses that are always facing the sun, okay, to get more the warm. The ground floor, it was used by animals, and the main rooms were up there because the animals gave warm to the house. He came here years before, and he found it right now very beautiful, Combarro.
I like it.
In the 19th century, they live here in a space. Good words, yeah. And where we have today this church, the tradition says that when people couldn't go to the monastery to go to the mass, they stay praying right here.
Casi.
Ok.
Casi siempre.
Bonito, bonito aquí.
Gracias.
Good.
In most of these houses, the ground floor, it is a holder. It's great.
There's an ancient beach that is called Silgar, and everything that you see right now, all the people, everybody here are local. After your harvest, later you have to help your neighbor, of course, because they help you first.
Bye. It's interesting.
Escuchar una balada de rock famosa de todos los tiempos o un tema clásico de todos los tiempos.
Alors Alvaro is asking you, what you would like to hear? Some maybe a rock and roll song from all the famous time, or a classical tune from really famous, or maybe the both. Maybe both. We go for both. Yeah, both. Okay. Yes.
Calendar made with flowers, look now to the right, and also our clock made with flowers on the right.
Is number 1 on the map.
It's a church from the 18th century, and the tradition says that is built over another church that was built in the 12th century when St. Francis came to Santiago. We can put the group together of a Galician artist from next to Combarro, where we were yesterday. You see the one in the corner? That included, please count 6 from the corner to the door, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, it's in front of us right now, on the very top. If you get closer or later that we're going to meet right there, you will see there is a naked man that is holding his legs and showing us his button. And that is to show that they were angry.
¿Desde dónde hizo el camino?
Desde León.
Desde León, o sea que son como 15 días más o menos.
Sí, más o menos.
See? Oh, she came from León. She walked around 15 days, more or less. Okay. Enhorabuena.
Thank you.
¿Y por qué hizo el camino?
Pues bueno, porque sobre todo por el paisaje y porque es un poquito de pensar en uno mismo, en todo lo que has hecho en la vida y lo que te queda de vida, pues cómo quieres cambiarlo y hablar contigo
Como
misma.
replantear un poco.
Sí, replantearte tu vida.
She did the ways, first she said from the landscape, and second because she thinks that she now is a point of her life that she needs to rethink again how she lived her life and how he wants to continue the time that she has right now. Okay, to rethink again a little bit her life. ¿Lo volvería a hacer?
Sí.
El norte sur. Okay, so there's anybody here from the United States from the south? Okay, Georgia, because he wants to go there.
A la sabana, me encantaría ir a la sabana.
You have any recommendations for her?
Appalachian Trail.
Yeah? Okay, si te gusta andar, dice que tiene un montón de sitios para hacer.
Sí.
Vale, pues muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much.
Buen camino para, como aquí en España se dice, buen camino.
Buen camino. Instead of good,
peregrino.
the pilgrims, when they met, they said buen camino, good way.
Sí,
Okay.
buen camino.
Buen camino. Muchísimas gracias. Buen día en Santiago. Gracias. Very superstitious, right? What we really think is that they travel on a ship that carried a stone, and the legend changed into a boat made of stone. But you are in Galicia. If the legend says that it's a boat made of stone, it's a boat made of stone. Okay? Smaller square that place is known as filled of round weight. Okay, because if we get weight smaller, you some free time. Okay? We go. No, I don't like the stairs. We go up there. But we're going. Remember what I told you in the bus, that thanks to the restoration we are discovering new things? Okay, if you look up to the very bottom, that flower is from the 12th century and we discovered last year. It was an independent church of the cathedral. That's why you have upstairs to go in. But the cathedral became bigger and bigger, and now the entrance is inside. And we call it the chapel for the chapel of Corticella is the original name, but we call it the chapel for foreign people. So it's for you. Look at this. To all the desires of the students. Okay. Oops.
I want to say thank you to Manuel for his great driving today, and also I want to say thank you to you for choosing this city.
night. Oh, well, tell me more, was it love at first sight? Tell me more,
And at the time there were two double towers.
The of this opera, it was classified as a national opera. You have a main lobby, main staircase, and then you have a huge auditorium, 100% made of wood, with the stage and the backstage. Iron, which is very heavy. So please follow me. We're going to one.
Imagine that the garden were bigger. They were going in that direction.
This submarine base was not used too long. You will understand that once we have a stop at a time, because you will see the entrance of the locks.
So I know you get to put things.
begin. I'd like to welcome you all to Rock Tayard. Rock Tayard means quite simply carved out of the rock, and it's built upon a series of grottos. But in case of attack, they came to this site. It's an absolutely natural defensive site. Those fortifications were very primitive. They were motte and bailey castles, which is earthwork held up by timber. It's not very solid. But little by little, on this site, and for the same strategic reasons, they began to build in stone, which explains the existence of the old castle, because that castle is only 700 years old. And the main occupation of the local lord is war. Because of all these wars, no one can live peacefully in the countryside. They leave their houses, they rebuild their villages within the protection of castle walls. Yeah, the first examples we have in the southwest of mashikuli. Mashikuli were quite simply used to drop things onto people's heads, because in the Middle Ages everything fell on your heads. The chapel is still used like that. Baptisms, weddings, and for 700 years, all the members of the family are buried in the crypt behind wood. But not this. It's the only altarpiece created by the Duke himself. Always lived in, and still lived in today, by the same family. So for 700 years, this family has tried to make their house livable. Obviously, in 1306 there were no windows. There were 159 arrows. The family lived in a keep. We have to wait almost 300 years. 16th century they left the keep. They opened up the windows on the first floor. Viollet-le-Duc arrives in the 19th century to open up the windows on the ground floor. But the building itself has never changed. It's exactly as you would have found it 700 years ago. The only thing they have done is opened up the windows. Well, this, of course, is the main facade of Rock Tayard. And apart from those 4 little windows, it's exactly as you would have found it 700 years ago. There is no Renaissance, there is no Viollet-le-Duc. And as I explained over there, since in the Middle Ages everything fell on your heads, this was a very useful element of defense in case of here they drop the nets on your heads and you all get murdered. Burning oil is Hollywood. It was not oil, it was stones. And then we have the placement of the portcullis, that the grille that comes down to protect the weak part of a fortification, of course, is the main doorway.
we're doing a little bit of a wine tasting, and we have selected 4 bottles of wine from, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, the Bordeaux region.
Bordeaux wine, when you go to let's say a wine shop or a supermarket and you look at the wines, you will see that the wines have a different shape. The Bordeaux wine always have this really strong shoulders. This is characteristic. A bottle like this with this break here. This is the way we like. You know, you look at the color, and then, as Michael was saying, you know, you look at the you smell, you know, and you see what the smell reminds you, and then after that you can swear.
Saying this is the best, this is this and that, yeah. But it really depends on your own individual taste, on your own palate. So, however you define whether it's nice or not, that's down to you in particular.
Why? We have to thank 2 men, the German admiral named Schirlitz and the French commander named Meyer. In October 1944 they made an agreement. The German promised not to blow the tidal range, which is 18 feet.
The Saint Nicolas Tower, which looks like the keep of the castle. On the right, the chain tower. They date back to the 14th century. And in the background there is another tower, which is a lantern tower. And in this direction there is also the marina. If you go behind the towers, you will see the masts.
Yeah, oysters. They're empty. The pity, they're empty. We can buy them all year long. I live on the Ile de Ré. I can buy in the village where I live. I can buy the oysters at the oyster farmer's place. They're available and very fresh, so it's, we love this. We love this. Are covered with slate. Something special to La Rochelle. And we had no slate. We had to import slate from Brittany or Anjou, other parts of France. Slate is supposed to protect wood from salty air. And there was no bishop in La Rochelle and no very powerful religious orders, which can explain why La Rochelle turned into a Protestant city and became the leading town of Protestantism, the stronghold of Protestantism in the middle of the 16th century. Can I have a look? So it's named the cloister of the White Ladies. They were nuns here. They left 30 years ago. It's a good example of these Renaissance houses. When you see such houses with a great adornment, you are sure they belong to rich, wealthy Protestant merchants in the 16th and of the 16th century. Okay, just under the windows at the top, they represent Indians. And we have also a lot of gargoyles. 200 gargoyles on private houses. It's something exceptional. Usually gargoyles were put on churches. Here we have got them on private houses. We don't know exactly why. Maybe it was fashion at the time. So during the siege, he was elected the mayor, and he did not want to surrender. Because imagine those people who were starving to death. Some would have preferred to surrender earlier. And one day, someone came
and asked him to surrender. Please, please, we want to surrender. And he said no. He took his sword and he plunged it into his chest, saying, I'll never surrender. Had a lot of stones to chant, to make new, because they were damaged after the fire.
Ouais, ça a été pendant 5 ans, on a refait.
He has been working for 5 years to make new stones, to carve new stones, to make a new framework.
Repensé et refait par les architectes.
Les architects work a lot to make in the same way historical rooms, as I told you, the same way.
To walk alongside the new quayside that was inaugurated yesterday. There was a fantastic firework. Douarnenez is a place where people are really open-minded, like they are in all parts over the world. It's not the bourgeois mentality you will find in the major town here, which is Quimper. And I must say the Romans were superior against the Celtic tribes. And the cohabitation between the Celts and the Romans was not bad for Brittany because it managed to develop thanks to the trade already at that time, at the beginning of our era.
Your guide would be well
wearing the headdress and you were disappointed as you saw me, no? And there are still remains of a former temple on the hill of Le Cronan, just like a sacred outdoor space. Maria Magdalena, John is always represented without a beard, and this is a monoblock, all right? There's one piece, and this is stone. The only problem is the length of the legs. You see that he is a bit short in the legs. And this is the wedding. These are the weddings of Anne de Bretagne with the two French kings on the right. She married Charles VIII and Louis XII. She didn't want to marry those French kings. When we come here with school children, they always wonder and they touch him and they ask, where is the man? Is he inside here? And we explain, no, it's down in the earth. This is only the representation of him. I remember our grandmother calling us Keben as we were too loud to, we were children, but my grandmother only had one child. Mom was a single child. And she found it horrible, those 9 kids crying and asking for milk. And we were the wicked. We didn't mean, we were just children. This is it. I remember once she offered me for my birthday a very nice doll with long hair, and I cut the hair because I thought it would grow again, but in traditional society, the costume was a sign of recognition in the human group. And only from the First World War onwards did it begin to lose all significance.
It's called Buxi Sardinophilia. Yeah, it's a collection.
But what is inside? Is it chocolate or is it real? It depends.
It depends. And I got a picture here.
Yeah, for sardine or salt or oil.
The other thing, it's illegal to call or to name a pig Napoleon in France. But of course it's quite okay in the UK. So we're now off on our route to Mont St Michel, and I think with the sun trying to come through, we might be.
So, like I said, my crew's here.
I'm Colonel Wells. I'm the other pilot from number 2 aircraft, and I'm from
They got a whole lot more than I had.
Being the omelette. Both sides of this main street. So, you see, all the flying buttresses, you see.
signature of the stonemason for reason to get paid, to get a salary. Otherwise, how can you know that I did it or you did it unless you have the signature? We should restore it. We should rebuild and restore. Well, it was exactly the same thing you see for that period, but they decided not on top of this rock. Too small, considering you see 60 monks and lots of pilgrims. They kept the first structure, but they built another one on top. You know what we call the Napoleon cake? The 1,000 leaves? You've got so many layers. So, to build a church 282 feet long, under the chancel which is there is a kind of crypt building supporting the weight. Under the two arms, right in there, two others, and the first church of the Benedictine monks is a little bit under the nave, a lot under the platform. So, a solid structure, east, west, north and south, to support this huge, huge church. Thank you. So mind the step, be very, very careful. Green, yellow, look, you've got some green painting there. So imagine what it was when the whole structure was in colour. Just facing us, we go later, there is a building with 3 floors. There it is, this building with 3 floors with a cloister on top. And surprisingly, you know that in a cloister, the only opening is facing God. Opposite, here is the dining room over there. This is exactly what we have here in this dining room. This is a drink, this is very, very logical. Kind of waiting room for visitors in the pasture. The water tank. There is a shuttle bus. All you see is the village and the church. There are still 200 rooms remaining. We've got no idea how many rooms it is.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I will not be too long. We are still here in lock probably for the next 10 minutes, then we have to proceed out at sea. And I would like to tell you thank you very much for being so wonderful guest. I'm looking forward to see you again.
Yeah. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And today, well, we certainly had the opportunity to marvel at the majesty of the Mont St Michel.
Oh my god.